shop, you thought that's Candace Bone. She may be a lady, Katie, past the Christy, cool as the AC, the ice princess, no road definition, driving like a sign on the side of TJ Chris. WNBA smoking, loving the best cause they all so hard. Tonight we going.
Well, good evening, WNBA and LA Sparks fans, and welcome in to the LA Sparks 365 Network, your 24/7, 365 comprehensive home for the WNBA and your two-time WNBA champion Los Angeles Sparks. Back here with you folks on Tuesday night, June the 16th, 2015, here in lovely San Diego, California. Of course, one-man show of the night, Chris Amanci with the night off. Cal McClure joining you here from Studio 121 in San Diego for tonight's Sparks 365 post-game show after the Sparks play a good first half, but again, they'll look lead slip away those. They faltered to the Minnesota Lynx tonight at Staples, 67-52. Now, ladies and gentlemen, before we even get to tonight's game, and as you're probably wondering yourself, where is the Candace Parker jersey? Ladies and gentlemen, again, I know this is a WNBA and Sparks network, but of course, folks, with me living in San Diego, today remains a very dark day in San Diego sports history, as you may or may not know, but this is the one-year anniversary of the late, great San Diego Padres baseball player, Tony Gwynn, who passed away on this date last year at the very young age of 54 from a long, extensive, tough battle with cancer suffered from many, many years of chewing tobacco during his amazing Hall of Fame 20-year career with the San Diego Padres. And, of course, folks, we will get to the game momentarily, but I just wanted to, kind of come out here and really, I guess talk about this tremendous athlete, but also a person who inspired a lot of young kids that wanted to play baseball here in San Diego. And I'm sure, though, was a role model, too, for a lot of our fans out there that may have been or are baseball fans. And I know that a lot of the Sparks fan bases are Dodger fans. And, of course, with the Padres and Dodgers being in the same division, I'm sure that, as much as, as the Dodger fan base may not like the Padres, you almost could not hate on this man. I mean, this guy was the true definition of an athlete that embodied all the characteristics of an athlete that I think we all wish that pro athletes in every sport, every level, could exemplify towards their fans, which is common courtesy, kindness, respect, professionalism, and all-out class. I know that I said that about my friend Jessica Scorza at Point Loma Nazarene University about meeting her for the first time. Of course, Tony Gwynn, a gentleman that I was privileged to meet, along with Junior Seau, who was above my left shoulder here on the wall as well, here on the Wall of Fame, of course. Two of San Diego's best sporting icons, sadly gone, no longer with us. And again, I think though that two gentlemen that that I think helped put the city of San Diego on the map in regards to professional sports. Of course, Junior Seau, a local kid out of Oceanside, California, went to the University of Southern California, was drafted by the Chargers, and of course played elsewhere with the Dolphins and the Patriots. Sadly, took his own life back on May 2nd of 2012 at his home in Oceanside, and of course Tony Gwynn, the only member of both Padre World Series teams in '84 and '98, and so many other accolades. And of course, sadly, cancer takes his life at age 54. But folks, more importantly, though, about Tony Gwynn, this was a gentleman, as I said, that I had, the privilege of meeting countless times as a fan, and also when I was playing, I had the sincere honor, privilege, the blessing to be able to actually practice and work out with Tony Gwynn's college kids at San Diego State, and to learn from Tony Gwynn and learn from his players was something that I still marvel at today, that, here's a young kid in high school, who is not going to play post his high school career to focus on broadcasting, but was inspired, motivated, and driven by simply learning baseball from not only one of his childhood idols growing up, but a player that everyone across the sports world, even if you didn't know Tony Gwynn personally, you loved him for how he was as a person, of how he gave back to his community, stayed in San Diego for 20 years of his career, and did not take money to go play elsewhere when he could have done so. He could have made 5 times more money as a free agent going elsewhere, but he stayed here and again, as I said, embodied all the traits that I set forth for athletes nowadays that he showed to everybody, whether you knew him well or you were his next door neighbor or where you were just an average fan like me. He treated you with common courtesy, with kindness, respect, and all-out professionalism and true class. And he is still, folks, sadly missed in San Diego. A very tough day in San Diego today, even though it's been a year. Again, the Padres again played a game today. I'm sure with heavy emotion, heavy hearts about it. Thinking back, folks, to a year ago, I was on my way to a day off from broadcasting. I was going to with my family to Knott's Berry Farm, and as we came off the freeway, off the 39, going towards the park, one of my coworkers sent me a text saying, "Hey, man, Tony Gwynn just passed away." And I remember reading it, and I was in utter shambles. I was shocked. I was stunned to hear of the passing, because I knew that, Tony had recently gotten out of surgery for more treatment, chemo treatment for his cancer. And reading that and saying it to my folks and my family, we all were, really shaken to the ground. But, folks, in a connection with the WNBA, though, again, folks, we'll get to the game momentarily here. But Tony Gwynn, though, folks, was a teammate of Alan Wiggins Sr., who just so happens to be the father of current New York Liberty guard Candace Wiggins. And if you guys recall very well, I interviewed Candace back in October for a broadcasting school project. I want to read for you folks some of the quotes that Candace told me when I asked her about her experience growing up with Tony Gwynn and everything else included. Her first quote reads, so when asked about her reaction, Candace Wiggins' quote reads, quote, "I was way more sad about Big Tony than I was about my dad. It's really heartbreaking and actually hard to talk about without me getting very, very emotional," close quote. Now, I'm sure you guys are asking yourself, why would Candace Wiggins be more heartbroken by the loss of a close family friend than her own father? Folks, when Alan passed away in 91 from AIDS in Los Angeles, Candace was only 4 years old, so she didn't really know what really was going on with her dad. I mean, you can go read her testimony on her website about her experience seeing her father after his career ended, in regards to seeing him being very frail, underweight, and everything else included, again, battling the AIDS disease. So, that's why she says she was more heartbroken about Tony Gwynn's passing than her own father, because she even told me she has no memories, personal stories or memories with her dad. And I know that we all have our own personal stories with our parents, but she didn't have any of those to really talk about. So she saw the death of a close friend as a bigger burden than the death of her own father. Her next quote goes on to read, quote, "I really valued my time with him, and our families live close to each other in Poway, which is a San Diego suburb, and we go there a lot. The Wiggins and Grant and Gwynn family are really, really close, and our prayers are with them, and we're with them in spirit." Next quote goes on to read, "The greatest thing is people understanding that his legacy will live on forever through his kids, through his wife. He is Mr. San Diego in my eyes." And ladies and gentlemen, I wholeheartedly agree with Ice on this, not because, we're friends and we live in the same city, but there's no other athlete in San Diego sports specifically that can take the tops, that can take the Mr. San Diego tagline other than Tony Gwynn. I mean, if you need to find out more about this guy, I would recommend reading about it, because this guy had an amazing, amazing career. Now, when asked about the 1984 season where Tony and Alan went to the World Series, she says, more than that, though, in the reference to the 84 season, "I know that Big Tony was so much to my dad and was so important to him. There's a reason my father knew he was going to be dying soon, that he bought property for his family next to the Gwynns and the Templetons. It was a soul bond," close quote. Now, in case you guys are wondering, Alan Wiggins Sr., before he passed, bought a house for his family. Candace, her mom, her brother, and sisters, and her cousins bought a house in Poway, which is about roughly 25 minutes north of where I live here in San Diego, and shared that block with both the Gwynn family and also legendary Padres shortstop Gary Templeton. and they've all been in contact with each other. And obviously, hearing that, though, folks, from someone that knew Tony Gwynn better than I did, especially growing up with the family, that was a real eye-opener. And by far, folks, that is the toughest question I have ever had to ask an athlete in the 3 interviews I've done, was talking about the death of a close friend. And as soon as, I asked the question and she started talking about it, I knew right then and there, okay, I'm stopping. I'm not asking any more questions about Tony or her dad, because it sounded like she was starting to get a bit choked up. But folks, I want to do a quick comparison here, and you can let me know on Twitter if I'm right or wrong here in regards to this comparison. Now, obviously, when Tony Gwynn retired and left, and then and sadly passed, he did not win a championship. He got to 2 World Series, but I think, though, folks, I think I can do this as both, a Padre, a San Diego sports fan, along with being a Laker and Sparks fan, is I can totally compare the careers of Tony Gwynn and Magic Johnson head to head. I know that Tony does not have rings on his fingers, but in regards, though, folks, to both of them battling something, whether it was Magic sadly leaving the game at a young age because of HIV in 1991, or when Tony Gwynn retired and then, of course, had cancer from, the negative side effects of chewing tobacco. I think resume-wise, spending their whole careers with one team, many MVP awards and player awards, all-star games, whatever the awards are, folks, I think I have a valid point here in comparing Tony Gwynn and Magic Johnson head-to-head. Now, again, I know it's baseball to basketball. I know that Magic had more success. But in regards, though, of how they were figureheads for their franchises, how they're either the number one all-time greatest player of their franchise or top 5 somewhere, I honestly think that you can safely and I wholeheartedly compare Tony Gwynn and Magic Johnson 100% because of all they did in being franchise staples for both the Lakers and the Padres, how they went about their business every day of, giving to the fans, giving to the media, giving back to the community, so on and so forth. I mean, I just think that you can totally 100% compare Magic Johnson and Tony Gwynn in the same sense in regards to tremendous athletes with huge hearts who went out of their way to make everyone feel like they were their best. How they went out of their way to make you as a fan feel like you were important to them as both the player, person, and to the team as a whole. So if you want to get involved here about my comparison to Tony Gwynn and Magic Johnson, please feel free to let me know on Twitter at Calimac3. I kind of want your opinions here, folks. Again, I know that I'm comparing apples to oranges here again, 5 rings versus no rings. But I think in regards, folks, to bringing awareness about HIV, about the dangers of doing smokeless tobacco, everything else included, folks, I think you can totally comprehend, totally compare those two to being tremendous, being both tremendous players, tremendous athletes, but also big-hearted individuals that always, how their smile could just light up a room. And I think that I can do that here, and I'm sure you can as well. But again, folks, 1 year today, my goodness gracious, Tony Gwynn, longtime Padres player, former coach at San Diego State University for baseball. Again, 1 year ago today, passing away from at the age of 54 from a long battle from oral cancer sustained by many years of doing chewing tobacco in his 20-year career with the Padres. And of course, as always, prayers, thoughts, and condolences continue to go out from my family, of course, as my entire family being lifelong Padre fans. Of course, the Gwynn family remains in my prayers every night, along with Candace and her family, of course. That some people upstairs can look out after their family and continue to bless them with what they've been able to do for a long, long time in both San Diego and, of course, up there in Los Angeles. Okay, folks, enough of that. We'll now go to the game tonight. The Sparks looking to get off the schneibs here, but unfortunately another second half collapse dooms the Sparks. They go down in flames again, 67-52. The Lynx over the Sparks after the Lynx came out a bit slow, but of course took over in the third and fourth quarter. The final line score for Minnesota, 12 in the first, 11 in the second, 23 in the third, and 24 and 21 in the fourth for the game total of 67. And for the Sparks, 15 in the first, 13 in the second, and 9 in the third. X factor the ball game right there, and 15 in the fourth for the game total of 52. For the Lynx, Maya Moore, after a rough start, finishes with 22 points. Simone Augustus, right behind her with 20. Asia Jones and Lindsey Whalen with 8. Jen O'Neill with 3. Rebecca Brunson, Damaris Dantes, and Devereux Peters all with 2. Trisha Liston and Rashonda Gray all with no points in the ball game. The Sparks, very, very shorthanded. We'll get to that momentarily, folks. In a shorthanded night for LA. Jantel Lavender, 12 points. Mariana Tolo, 10. Faria Abdi, 7. Aaron Phillips and Andrea Hoover with 6, along with Tamika Johnson also with 6. Jen Hampson, 3. And Jen Lacey with 2. Elena Beard and Nneka Gumake both out battling injuries here tonight. Now, folks, to the Sparks quickly. It has pretty much, folks, gone from bad to worse here at this point in time. Okay, so the Sparks, again, as we know, the Sparks lose again. They falter now to 0-3 on the season. But now, folks, it has really gone from bad to worse so far this season, as now they are without both Nneka Ogwumike and now without Elena Beard, for what I have been told, folks, by the broadcast team tonight, is sounding like it's going to be a significant, large amount of time with both now with Ogwumike out and now Beard out, along with Parker and Tolliver out. I mean, that's the icing on the cake, folks. 4 components to this LA club are all out, either injuries or overseas commitment or rest. I mean, can it really get any more worse, I guess, out there for the LA fans? It's really has gone from, from such anticipation to such disappointment in such a short amount of time. Okay, I know that he can't dictate injuries, but right now, I mean, this is where the Sparks need. They desperately are. I mean, you can tell that they're like almost saying SOS. The white flag's going up. They need Parker, they need Tolliver, and they need Ogwumike, and now they need Beard back. I mean, this is not what LA, I believe, envisioned to start off the season. Now, okay, I'm going to join Coach Dave Miller, folks. Okay, I'm not making excuses here for the Sparks about the bad play. Yes, I know that they're without 4 players, but again, if you're suiting up, you got to bring your A game every night. And so far, maybe, I guess, can we say maybe 1, 2 players at most have brought their lunch pails and, really brought themselves to work every day so far. Not calling anyone out, but I'm just saying, though, has it been that kind of a trend, I guess, that we've seen, a certain number of players or a player showing up day in and day out? And I'd say right now much Jantel Lavender and maybe Aaron Phillips right now, because right now it's been a very rough go for Los Angeles. Lavender tonight, by the way, folks, 34 minutes played, 12 points, minus 16 and plus months efficiency. And Aaron Phillips tonight, 31 points, 31 minutes, 6 points in the ball game. So right now, I think it's just that the Sparks are very shorthanded. Very, very shorthanded, folks. Again, I still got the cough here. I apologize, folks. I'm trying to get over this. I'm getting there ever so slowly. But again, bear with me again tonight. But again, folks, I think that right now is kind of, buckle up and hope for the best. Don't go jumping off the diving board yet and saying the season's over. Through 3 games, it may look bad that the Sparks are the bottom half or in the bottom 2 or the bottom part, 12th place in every offensive category. But again, I'm not making excuses here, folks. Again, that the Sparks are missing 4 players. But it's sort of like, sit down, be quiet, buckle up for the fan base, and weather the storm, ride it out, and be patient. Because Brian Agler is doing all he can, folks, as is the coaching staff, to try to get the team up to par. But again, 4 players being out, facing one of the best teams in the league, you knew LA was in trouble. And again, Jantel Lavender did all she could to keep the Sparks in the ball game tonight, as did Mariana Tolo. Had a good game. Faria Abdi, okay game. Foul trouble, though. Bad all around for the Sparks. Abdi with 5 personals, racked up 4 in the first half, before picking up 1 more in the second half of the ball game. Mariana Tolo, 3 fouls. Johnson, 3 fouls. Lacey, 3 fouls. So obviously the Sparks Also, folks, 11 turnovers tonight. It looked like they were kind of getting back a bit in regards to not turning the ball over so often. But again, it just was, again, the turnovers getting back, but also foul trouble. That was also one component that was the why the Sparks felt tonight again was foul trouble. Again, 5 fouls for Abdi, 4 of them in the first half. I mean, that is completely unacceptable. I mean, it doesn't matter what level you're playing. 4 personals in one half is not the best way to start off on the to start the game off. So again, I just think right now it's a matter of the Sparks getting healthy. I mean, right now with Agumake sitting out is a good sign, but now that Beard's out, the guard spot takes another major blow. Again, now that the veteran on the team is out, and then now instead with Agumake out, again, frankly, who knows where this takes LA. Now, Sunday will not be a walkover, folks. The Sun, who come in on Sunday at 2 o'clock on TWCSN, folks, they're 4-1 too. So again, the schedule, as Jim Watson pointed out on the broadcast, the schedule does not get any easier because you got to play Connecticut twice in a couple of weeks span, sandwiched around Washington, who's first in the East. So far, it has not been the easiest of starts for the Sparks. Now, it may be a different story if Agumake, Beard, Tolliver, and Parker were all in. But again, in spite of those 4 not being here, players have got to step up. I mean, that's all I can say is that players have got to step up for LA. Jantel Lavender, folks, cannot carry the baggage every night. Aaron Phillips helped carry it on Sunday. And then today, off day. Mariana Tolo, off day Sunday, helps out tonight. But again, need to play a bit better. The first half was good, folks. But again, it's that second half that, it's almost like you're watching the Lakers a few years ago. Again, how it was good in the first half, and they, the castle burns down in the second half. Coach Dave Miller, folks, has been, hitting that nail on the head since Sunday, is you have to play the full 40. Now again, they've done great jobs. I mean, if there's positives, it's that they have played a good 20 minutes in all 3 games. They were down by a couple in Seattle last Saturday, led by 10 on Sunday before they blew that one. I mean, tonight they were up 5 before choking that away. So if there's any positives, it's that the team can start well. It's just a matter of time, the folks, of when the Sparks can close out those games. Now, and Candace Parker even told me this during my interview with her back in September was, is you learn a lot of things during the course of the season. She said, her as a player plus the team have to get better at closing games. So I think that the Sparks also are trying to figure out, how are we supposed to close out a ball game? So I think, though, that with time, once we get, towards July, that maybe the tide can turn. But again, though, you're going to need to get some bodies healthy and some players back over from overseas commitments. But again, me as a Sparks fan and, the host here, you can call me crazy, stupid, laugh at me, or rat me on Twitter, folks. But again, I'm not worried. 0-3 is a bit alarming for me because I love to win and I compete as a former athlete and now as a broadcaster. But when you're down 4 players, again, I'm not making an excuse here, folks, but again, losing 4, but again, being down 4 players, again, yeah, it's a contributing factor. But again, some other players have got to step up. You cannot keep relying on the same players over and over again. But again, me as a fan, me as a reporter and announcer here on the network for the Sparks again, is I'm sitting down on my chair and I'm just weathering the storm. I'm just sitting here chilling on Snapchat, on IG, looking at my Sparks posters and saying, yeah, things will get better sometime soon. It may not be right now, but it will be sometime soon. So I would kind of recommend for you fans, join me, please. And please do not jump off the deep end 3 games into the season. And if you've done that already, so long. See you next year. All right, back over, folks, now to the Lynx again with the win tonight after a very, very awful, dreadful performance by the Lynx on Saturday or Sunday down there in Phoenix. Maya Moore coming back strong, 22 points. Simone Augustus, 20 points. The two of the 3 big-headed, 2 of the 3 for the Lynx's triple threat attack with 22 for Maya Moore after a very sluggish start for her, and 20 more for Money Mona Augustus today. And Lindsay Whalen, again, a rough day for her, though, but normally she's not really that type of a player where she scores a lot. I mean, Dave Miller and Jim Watson both said, that Whalen almost reminds them of Steve Nash. I agree 100%, not because Nash is my man, my favorite player of all time in the NBA, but that Whalen is that guard that the passer, the facilitator. She chips in 8 points, but still, though, chips in 7 assists, 4 rebounds, plus 13 in efficiency. So I think that, Waylon will score when she scores. But again, they got more, and they got Augustus to carry the load. And, of course, Asia Jones today played great, 8 points as well. And, again, Rebecca Brunson still trying to get her feet back under 2 points tonight as well. But, again, more so it's Maya Moore, again, who's the defending MVP again, who I think right now is 2. I mean, what Elena Deladon, folks, has done, considering that, the Sky were underdogs all postseason and she battled through that back problem last year, how she started the season reminds me vaguely of Maya Moore 2014, how she had the 30 or more in 12 straight games, where Deladon, it's been 35 or 40 through her first 3 games. I mean, right now, ADD and Maya versus the rest of the league for MVP, in my opinion right now at this point in time. But again, Maya Moore tonight, player of the game for the Lynx, 22 points in 20 minutes on a 8 for 15 shooting night from the field, 2 of 6 from beyond the arc, and 4 of 7 from beyond the arc tonight for her, actually from the stripe tonight for her. And Jantel Lavender, player of the game for the Sparks, 12 points in 34 minutes, 6 of 11 from the field, and 0 for 1 from beyond the arc with 13 rebounds and 1 block on the evening. Excuse me, folks. The other finals tonight from the WNBA, 2 games early this morning at 9 o'clock this morning. Yikes. Indiana boat raced Atlanta 90-79. Other finals tonight as well. Tulsa 88, Stars 61, and Connecticut blows the doors off the Storm 79-58. One tweet from Philly Kid 215 at Rambot 68. They say Agler needs to go down low to Jen Hampson, let her post more, go inside to get more outside shots. I think that Jen Hampson, in spite of her coming off the bench, Philly Kid, still played great. I mean, obviously, I know that Agler, though, tonight, folks, you may have saw, went to the rookies, to Hoover and Hampson in the ball game. And I think that Hampson, still developing, she had 3 points, but again, 20 minutes played, wearing out Lab with 34 minutes tonight. Jen Lacey plays 14, had foul trouble tonight. Hoover played 21. So I think, though, that again, Brian Agler, I think is still working out the puzzle here. Jigsaw puzzles, folks, take days, weeks, sometimes months to complete. Brian Agler is still trying to figure out this jigsaw puzzle. I mean, he's trying to figure out what puzzle pieces fit where when Agumike's out, and now that Beard's out, what puzzle pieces will fit where. And right now the puzzle or the lock combination has failed. Now, again, there's time off, folks. Now, again, I should mention, too, there are no league games, no WNBA games, folks, until Friday. League-wide off days tomorrow and Thursday. Games on Friday and the weekend. But, folks, now more importantly with the Sparks, this right now may be Judgment Day. They have 5 days off now until their next game on Sunday. Now it's a matter of time of, who's going to do what? It's a matter of that happening at this point in time. I think that right now with these 5 days off, this is probably going to be the biggest 5 days off for the Sparks to get Nneka Ogwumike back to 100%. But again, folks, like I have heard, though, from the broadcast, folks, it sounds like that the injuries to Beard and Ogwumike are way worse than what we all are thinking right now as fans and media members here. Is the reports I've been hearing is that, they could be missing a significant amount of time. If Ogwumike and or Beard are out for longer than Sunday, I mean, the Sparks are going to be in way worse trouble than they are right now. So again, matter of time. But again, folks, you can call me crazy, like I said, but I'm going to be sitting here on Sunday if the Sparks win or lose. I mean, if they do lose, but I'm just going to be sitting here saying, hey, weather the storm. I mean, we knew it was going to be rough when Parker was going to be out, Toller was going to be out, and then, of course, you have the injuries here. I'm just going to sit here and listen to my music, look around my room in my studio and just say, things are getting better soon. And if you don't want to join me, knock yourself out. But with that, folks, on Tuesday night, July 26th or 16th, 2015, game number 3 of the WNBA season for the Sparks. The Sparks faltered tonight to the Minnesota Lynx at home, 67-52. With that, folks, we thank you guys for joining us tonight here on LAS 65. We'll be back with you folks tomorrow night with some more talk about the league in general and everything else included. So we'll be back tomorrow night, back here 10 o'clock p.m. Until tomorrow night, have a safe night, drive home safely. Thank you all for coming and tuning in, and good night now. This has been the LA Sparks 365 Networks. We are Sparks. We are LA. We are the WNBA. See you folks back here tomorrow night, 10 p.m. with more league-wide talk about the Sparks and WNBA back here tomorrow night at 10 p.m. on LAS 365. Cal McClurkin signing off. Say good night. Bye-bye.